Rama Hare Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Gurudev Gurudev Jaya Jaya Gurudev Jaya Jaya Gurudev Gurudev Jaya Jaya Gurudev Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Hare Krishna. Welcome to our finishing course of Jiva Tattva, the truth of the soul or I, the living being. So we are going to wrap up today. So I asked Gopal Radhe Prabhu if you can put that beautiful poster you made about the 5 phases of, or 5 division of knowledge. On that, and then we'll begin with this. First, we'll invoke the mercy of our Srila Prabhupada and Guru Parampara. Om, you all can join if you would like. Om Ajnanati Mirandasya Enanjana Salakaya Chakshurun Militam Jena Tasmai Sri Guruve Namah Sri Chaitanya Mano Vishnam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Sayam Rupa Kada Mayam Dadati Padantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Jutapada Kamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavangscha Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanyitam Tam Sajivam Sadaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakhanitangscha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamini Tinamine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Paschata Deshatarine Pancha Kalpa Tarubhescha Kripa Sindhu Bhaivacha Patitanam Pavunebho Vaishnavebho Namo Namo Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Sivasadi Gaura Bhakta Binda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna. Gopal Radhe Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhuji, I'm just pulling up. Just a second.
Okay. We were thinking, should we discuss about the free will first and then japa and then discuss the other, or we discuss the 5 level of knowledge first? You are the host.
Well, yes, you can discuss the 5 level first and then we can go.
All right, we'll follow your advice. You have that, okay, it's coming. Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Daita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Oh, very good. So this 5 level of knowledge of 5 stages, you can say. To understand this, Srila Prabhupada very nicely he explained the whole concept in his book, Chaitanya Charitamrita Purport. And Srila Prabhupada says that if somebody don't understand this, it will be difficult to know where you are in spiritual path. So where is that one slide you made all 5 one by one?
Yes, Prabhuji, just 1 second. I'm sorry. I put it in the slideshow. It's just showing all of it. Give me one
Oh,
second.
okay. So as Prabhu is putting it out, I'm going to explain you what are those 5 stages of knowledge. So first of all, I'm not trying to scare you, but I'm going to tell you what Prabhupada says, and I'm going to give you exactly where you can look at it, because some of us, we think we don't need to learn everything. We don't need to have knowledge to do bhakti, to chant. Generally, this concept comes. So I'm going to give you, you write it down. It says Bhagavatam 1.2.7. And Srila Prabhupada quote that verse. Vasudeva Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojita Janayati Asu Vairagyam Gyanam Chajat Ahetukam. Srila Prabhupada translate that by rendering devotional service unto the personality of God as Sri Krishna, one immediately acquire causeless knowledge and detachment from the world. How do you know you are doing bhakti? Means knowledge must come. And detachment from the charmingness or allureness of material nature will be going down. These two are the immediate result of anybody who is chanting or advancing in spiritual path. If these two are not there, then there is a doubt whether we are progressing in a substantial way. There's another, I mean, there are few, but I'm just going to just give you a few. What Prabhupada mentioned, 3.27.22 in Bhagavatam. Genena drishta tattena vairagyena valisha tapojuktena jogena tibrenatma samadhina. Srila Prabhupada translate, the devotional service has to be performed. See how Prabhupada put it. This is his translation. This devotional service has to be performed strongly in perfect knowledge. If we do not understand the definition of bhakti and how this bhakti is superior to karma and gyan, we will mix karma and gyan all the time. So Prabhupada writes, this devotional service has to be performed strongly in a perfect knowledge and with transcendental vision. One must be strongly renounced and must engage in austerity and perform mystic yoga in order to be firmly fixed in self-absorption. Now I'm going to give you, not trying to scare you, but to give you the opposite. Say you think like, oh, I don't have time to learn this or study Prabhupada's book. Let's see what Prabhupada says in Madhya Lila, chapter 25.278. In the purport, you can read. If you have it, you can read, or I'll read for you. Prabhupada writes, all the devotees connected with Krishna consciousness movement means the member of ISKCON. All the devotees connected with Krishna consciousness movement must read all the books that have been translated, the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita and others. Otherwise, after some time, they will simply eat, sleep and fall down from their position. If that doesn't scare you, what else can I say? Thus, they will miss the opportunity to attain the eternal blissful life of transcendental pleasure. That means in order for us to go back home, back to Godhead, we have to do chanting. We also have to study Prabhupada's book and thoroughly understand. And 116 Prabhupada says, in order to assimilate the knowledge in the heart, it is more important to hear and discuss than just reading. Look at in 116 Bhagavatam in the purport. And he gives the whole explanation why. That's why Prabhupada established every temple we have Bhagavatam class. We have a study group. Why? Because of that. Reading is good, but Prabhupada said more important than reading is to hear and converse, reflect. Okay, I don't want to give scare more than that. But just to let you know, we often think if we gain enough information, we will become knowledgeable. Significantly, however, the Bhagavad Gita 14.17 states that knowledge grows by leading a life of goodness, not merely by accumulating information in the intellect. To appreciate Srila Prabhupada's contribution, let us consider what knowledge is meant for. This is my opinion. Is it a source for us to win an argument or prove that our superiority over others? Or is it the resource for us to choose wisely amid tempting or troubling situations? Ask that question and you answer. What do you think? Go ahead. Second option, smart. To understand how both these purposes may not go together, consider the example of doctor who smokes. Do they not know that smoking? I just saw Pravir Prabhu, no? He's a doctor. Thank you for joining, Pravir Prabhu. They do, and yet they don't. The doctor knows the smoking is injurious to health, yes or no? Yes, they do. At the same time, they don't. Because they're smoking. He doesn't smoke. He's a, he's a lover of Alachur temple. He's a nice doctor. Bhakti Charu Maharaj's doctor, I would say. While they know it intellectually, often know it better than most ordinary people, the information in their intellect is superseded by their uncontrollable cravings and unhealthy habits. So when we strive to live virtuously in a way that harmonizes with the information in our intellect, then the knowledge we learn will permeate into all areas of our being and make us all around better human beings. So knowledge, in a one word, one sentence, knowledge accumulated as information in the intellect makes us prouder. Knowledge applied through our choices and assimilated in our entire beings makes us wiser. Good devotee. That's all. Okay, with that note, I'm going to start this 5-layer of that Gopal Radhe Prabhu so nicely made it. I'm very proud of him. He's very talented devotee. So first thing you can see on the bottom is called Prataksha, direct perception. Direct perception means that you are awake, whatever you see through your senses. I see Gorachand Prabhu, I see deities here. So that's my direct perception through eyes. How this affects, it actually is not I am seeing it, but I'm giving you in a short. The light is a product of Sattvagun, mood of goodness, reflects on the object, and then it captured by the people, the black spot in the eye. The people capture that and it passes through the retina in the back. I had a very good friend who was the best research scientist, one of the second in America on the optometrist, Dr. William Dawson. He just passed away. Just to let you know, he has Bhagavad Gita when he was dying. He'd hold the Bhagavad Gita on his chest. He was a big scientist, but still we tried our best. Hopefully Krishna will give him a better birth as a devotee. So our people capture through the light of Sattvagun to the object and send through the retina to the brains, and brain dictates. If brain has a previous impression, will dictate immediately that what it is to the mind, and the mind will say, oh yeah, I know what it is. This is Gaurnita deity. Oh, this is Gora Chand, or something like this. Oh, this is a Gator bench, whatever, like that. But that's how the mundane three modes playing. Now in this mode, in this scenario, what I say is that the Sattvagun is present by the light and the seeing perception. Rajagun is present by the senses. Senses, all the senses are product of Rajagun, passion. And Tamagun is the object of my senses. So object of my senses is Tamagun. The senses are Rajagun. Seeing perception is Tamagun. Where is the role of the soul? What is soul is doing? He is actually the perceiver, seer. If the soul is not there, all these three modes are inactive, has no value. So this is called Pratyaksha. And we believe what we see through our senses. But Jiva Goswami Pad, Prabhupada writes that Jiva Goswami Pad is such a brilliant, there is a doubt in future anybody will become as bright as him. He's so intelligent. So he gives this for us, that always focus on the 5 stages sequence of your journey to the Golok Vrindavan. So first I described. Second one, we'll go to Paraksha. Paraksha means that we believe things through our senses, but sometimes we believe or take things through other senses. And I always give an example because I had one professor friend, because we live in Gainesville, our shop, and I spent almost over 18 years with different professor scientists there as a customer. So then one professor was giving an explanation of this potassium cyanide. Potassium cyanide is a substance chemical that nobody ever tasted to explain what the flavor and the effect is. But we see the effect through their senses, not with our senses. What does that mean? Means anybody took the potassium cyanide, they're dead. They never explain what kind of taste it was, how they actually got killed. They never explain, and neither we are going to experience with our senses that. Because if we do, we'll be dead. Who are we going to explain? So the scientists, modern scientists, they also believe potassium cyanide is deadly poison, but they don't know. Nobody ever experienced. They just believe on the other senses, the other guy who ate and dead. So this is a second. Now the spiritual life begins slowly, slowly above that. Spiritual life, first 2 things are not as important to understand the spiritual absolute or the spiritual dimension. Third is Paroksha. Aparaksha. Aparaksha is where our journey begins. When we join, we think we are very serious. We're like chanting quietly and nobody should know. I should feel happy. Am I feeling happy? What's going on in my mind? Nobody should know. I'm just like very serious. It's very funny the way Gopaladeva put the picture of Lord Buddha, because he is actually existing on that platform. His teachings is here. It is not in the spiritual world. We respect Buddha, but we do not take teachings of Buddha. because he did not come to give anything eternity. What does that means? Aporoksha is independent of all our existence. There we faint. That is compared to samadhi. You remember King Parikshit, when he came, he was thirsty and he was asking for water, and Sammak Rishi was in meditation and he was angry. Then he put that snake around his neck, where his son got angry and cursed Sringi. So many pastimes you can like this. We also go in samadhi. We have to go in samadhi. Prabhupada goes to samadhi all the time. But this samadhi is not this. Their end is here. They think life end here. But our life began from there. Before this, two other senses through our and others are for this world. But our spiritual life after this aporoksha is real began. But we have to come to this point where the senses for the sense gratification is withdrawn. What will happen to here, aporoksha samadhi? We cannot feel our low environment, but only our personal consciousness is slumber, in slumber, deep slumber. Anybody has an experience of a deep sleep? I did many, many times. Like you go to sleep, you have no record whether, when, what happened, where you are. Only when you wake up, you say, wow, that was good. I feel good. What is that you feel good? How did you know it was good when you are in deep sleep? If you are not aware, how did you know it was good or bad? The idea is there. So the destination of all the Buddhists, I have done enough research with Sandy, Richard. Richard is a big guy in Vancouver. He teaches Buddhism. We're good friends. And we did a lot of research just to find out. After this, they do not know. Even the 5th chapter of Moses, what we call Torah for the Jewish people, that's also, and we also researched with this rabbi who has a 3 PhD. He came to my shop for a few days. He loves Indian prasadam. Anyway, we had a nice talk for 8 hours total. And I recorded this. I listened again, back and forth. I had a lot of questions and asking. They come to a point that they also believe the mental system. But after death, they don't say that you have only this life. They say you go to a purgatory, a place where further progress goes on. But then at one point, all the mental system will be dissolved. And after all the mental system will be dissolved, then what will happen to you? No information. So there is a 2 Torah. One Torah discuss that what will happen when you leave this world. Another Torah is the commentary of the rabbis. Rabbis means they are the priests in the Judaism. They give commentary what they understand, because at that time, this samadhi stage is absolutely no information what happened to the soul. What happened, is there any further life? No information, period, nada, or what they call zero. So then different rabbi gives their own opinion, what they think Moses explained. So that's why this world has a fast transformation, as I mentioned yesterday. Second transformation, nobody talks. Only the Krishna consciousness or Vaishnavism they talk. Then number 4, Adakshaja. Adakshaja is where the life begins. And if you listen to Prabhupada's interview, Prabhupada's conversation with Father Manuel in France, and 2-3 times Prabhupada's conversation with different spiritual leader, they think that the ultimate goal is peace. We say, no, ultimate goal is not peace. It's above peace. And the father was saying, no, peace. Prabhupada says, no, it's not peace. It's above peace. And then at that time, he was explaining what is peace means. They think peace means everything is like quiet, like a nice garden, fountain, a beautiful lake. You don't have to do anything for God. God has nothing to do with it. I mean, there is a God, but you really have nothing to do with it. You just become like a statue, live there forever or something like this, or you are there or not there, you don't know. But that we call in our Krishna consciousness Santa Rasa. Santa Rasa, where no activity is much. This is a foundation. But our real seva, real happiness starts from Daisharas, after Santaras. So peace is not ultimate goal, but happiness in dynamic pleasure to please Krishna is where began this. So up till this it was peace. Now the Adokshaja means just the opposite of this world. If you work too hard in New Orleans or New York or Alachua, you're tired of work, you can go to the Vaikuntha. There is a place where you don't have to work. You can just meditate on God for millions, zillion, trillion years. And after trillion years, if you say, okay, I would like to see God, then you can go to another planet and see. You don't need an airplane. You can have an airplane. You don't need a gas. You don't need to buy anything. You can have unlimited of anything, but you are not hungry. In this world, you are hungry. Over there, the body you got, you don't get hungry. In Vaikuntha, they have like this. They also have a dynamic. You can chant sloka for zillion years without eating, sleeping, mating, defending, nothing. You don't need anything. You can just go on reciting sloka forever. They have a sannyasi. In Vaikuntha, they have sannyasi, they have a brahmachari. If you are fascinated, I love my Guru Maharaj, he is a sannyasi, I am a brahmachari, or I am a whatever, some ashram, I just love it. You can go to Vaikuntha and be there with your Guru. Or Guru will appear in a one form and you can be there with all your god brother, god sister, and you don't have to do anything. No hard labor, no book distribution, no so much of a collecting money or anything. But if you want to go further, no, I want to please the Lord, then activity begins, Daisharas. Daisharas where the fascination takes place and where you will find everything is opposite to here in a sense, there is no night and day. In Vaikuntha is a self-illuminating. There is no night and day. Night and day concept only in this world. And because it's reflection of the origin Golok Vrindavan where night and day is there. But that night and day is by the rasa. It's by the rasa, increasing the mellow, transcendental mellow. Just like Mother Josuda feels like my son works so hard. Now she will go and worship sun god and tell the sun god to go down so her son can come. So the demigod has to appear as a sun god. Krishna appeared as a demigod. In Golok Vrindavan, all the demigods are Krishna himself. He expanded as unlimited demigods. These demigods in this world are a reflection of that. Everything is a reflection here. So over there in Vaikuntha, any concept you have, you can, Srila Prabhupada writes, the wives of those devotees are actually Lakshmi expansion. The devotee, male devotee, they marry Lakshmi. The concept is that you think that Lakshmi belongs to Narayan. No, Prabhupada right in the purport explain this explanation of Chinta Mani Prakara Sadama Sukalpa Briksha Laksha Britesa Surabhira Vipalayantam Lakshmi Shahasra Satasam Brahmasebhamanam Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. And over there, the sense gratification is like a useless over there because you're looking at God pleases you billion times more than sex, pleasure, or watching movie or anything. So nobody is interested, even though they marry Lakshmi, you can say, or everybody looks like God. You can see even in this picture, Gopalarade Prabhu put it, very nice. They all look like God. Only two things are with the God and everybody else don't have these two things. We should know that. And if you cannot figure it out, I'll tell you at the end. Otherwise, that's how we found out from the Gop Kumar. He paid obeisances and then the Vaikuntha Basi came, he said, hey, we are just a devotee. Oh, you look like Narayan. He said, no, 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 Narayan is there. But when he saw the Narayan, he looks just like one of them. But there is two things. So he gives a clue. I'm sure you all know, but if you don't know, we'll say at the end. That's a quiz. So then what happened? After Vaikuntha, it's very interestingly, Jayadvaita Maharaj gave me some idea about, so Sridhar Maharaj gives an explanation on, in Vaikuntha, do they know about Krishna? Do they know about Krishna? Do they know about Gopal? Do they chant those names? Gopal, Makhan Chor? No, they never chant. But Jayadvaita Maharaj in the class, he mentioned a very unique story of a Sridhar Maharaj, Prabhupada's godbrother. He said he told him a story that in Vaikuntha, sometime in the closet, like you have a closet in your house, they also have a closet in their quarters. So that's interesting. So you will not miss anything, whatever you are experience of comfortable. So in the closet, they have a picture painting of Gopal. So the Gopkumar says, oh, Gopal, I miss him. And all the Vaikuntha Basi says, shh, don't say the name. Lord, he should not be addressed by a coward man. He is a worshipable object. You don't think like he is an ordinary boy. So, but that's true. Say, yes, yes, but we don't talk, we don't chant those names. This is restricted. So they keep sometime in the closet. If they hear Makhan Chor, God is a thief. Oh, no, no, shh, don't talk. No talk, no picture, no discussion like this. This is Vaikuntha. Vaikuntha where awe and reverence is there. Then above them is Aprakrita. This is our goal. So I'm going to speak few minutes on that. And then by the grace of the higher world, when our Srila Prabhupada will take us in there, we wonderfully have some experience of transcendental world. It is by their grace, by their mercy, not as a matter of right. You cannot claim, I want to go to Golok. No, you cannot achieve it. You can receive it as a gift, but you cannot achieve it. That I'm going to achieve Golok. With that mentality, don't approach. You'll fail. That is the highest stage of Prakrita, very similar to this world experience. But it will hold the highest position of existence and sweetness in every way, harmony and ecstasy. Srila Prabhupada even expressed, when will be the day? It was very fascinating. You wonder, Prabhupada is always speaking, but one time he says, when there will be a day I can speak about Krishna's pastimes, only Krishna's pastime. That means he wanted to speak about Krishna's Leela. Generally, most of the lecture you don't hear, but Prabhupada expressed this one time. He said, I want to speak, one day I want to speak about Krishna's pastimes more. And Srila Prabhupada will feed us amply. You won't be able to taste it all. It's such a sweetness is there in an unlimited way. Now, of course, we are thinking, oh, but we have so many restrictions here in this sadhana. I can say easily, give up everything you have. But what do you have on your own? Nothing. Your experience and wealth you have, guess what? It will be taken by your death, by your old age. Imagine somebody gives you $96 million just 1 hour before you die. How exciting is that? So this is called material world. Everything is there in the spiritual world, not here. And all this birth, death, old age, disease, that's all you have experienced. You don't have anything else from this world. And all will pass. They will leave you, say goodbye. They will disappoint you in the next moment. So you have nothing in one sense. So, but Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, give up the attraction for the present environment. This is important. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, give up the attraction. It is not the opposite sex, it is not the sense object. It is our attraction we need to give up. We don't have to give up the world. It is our attraction towards the world we have to give up. It's a very fine point. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, jump, come near to me, I shall give you shelter. You will be compensated employee. This is the call of Krishna consciousness or Srila Prabhupada's movement. Mahaprabhu instructed us again and again. Now question is, what is Vrindavan? We talked last few days in the morning in the temple here. What is Vrindavan? I really want you to remember, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur says, it is a stage of consciousness. In different stages of consciousness, there are different subjective realities. You are a conscious being. If your consciousness in the material world, you will not going to die and go to spiritual world. You will stay here. You will keep coming here. Everything springs from the willpower of the Lord. He is the subject, and his potency, his sweet will is all subjective. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, let there be light. There was a light. This is Bible explains. He said, let there be water. Bible says, there was water. There was earth. Bible beginning, it says, I read Bible. It's a beginning, it says, the God created earth and heaven. That means he was existing before heaven and earth. We take this. This is same as our book. Very nicely. We are all in subjective, imaginary world. But above imagination, in this five concept that we understood, is the super subjective plane of reality. Bhaktisiddhanta Guru used that word. So I'm just mixing with my realization. So Krishna reveals himself to one who has developed pure consciousness. And in the stage of pure consciousness, one can perceive the true nature of subjective reality. What is that? Sattam Vishuddham Vasudeva Sabditam Jathayate Pumana Pabrita. This is in 4th canto. Bhagavatam says that Sattam Vishuddham Vasudeva Sabditam. When your consciousness become completely pure, you don't need to search for God. God is there. You can see, have direct darshan. So we need to purify our consciousness. And if you want to enter into Vrindavan, the Vrindavan is called the land of love. What is Vrindavan? What we say is very peculiar. I'm going to Vrindavan. You know, other day we were talking. Simply to teach us the value of Vrindavan, you are posing in this way. Vrindavan, the highest plane of divinity, is a stage of consciousness. Above the plane of awe and reverence found in Vaikuntha is Vrindavan, the land of simplicity and divine love. The peculiarity of inhabitant of that highest plane of consciousness is that they do not feel they are in Vrindavan. Every Brajavasi, they never think they are in spiritual world. They are in the highest realm of spirituality, but they never think. They even pray to Narayan for Krishna. Even the idea comes that Krishna is God. It does not pierce in their heart. They are so much in love with him. That's why I mentioned this a few times, that when the sannyasi, Kannamuni, Gargamuni, their sannyasi, Kannamuni, they come to Vrindavan, but they don't stay. In Vrindavan, you'll never see a sannyasi ashram or brahmachari ashram. Anybody ever heard brahmachari ashram, sannyasi ashram in Vrindavan? No. You can come and visit, go back. If you are proud of your sannyas and I'm renounced, all this scholar, you go back where you come from. You can come and visit, go back. Vrindavan is a simple, homely, a sweet home, a lovely social family oriented, where Krishna is known as Lokik Sat Bandhuvat. Lokik Sat Bandhuvat. He's just one of family friend, family child. He's a friend of my son. He is my dearest object of love. That's how everybody thinks in Vrindavan. They never consider him with awe and reverence, but they are deeply in love with him. So as we discussed in the beginning, the third stage, that human experience, aporoksha, is above. Above human experience is aporoksha, not paroksha. But it is something like a deep sleep, yes. When we awaken, we say, I slept very well, we discuss about this, but all the idea of this world, all the philosophy, most of the philosophy finished there. Nobody even goes to the fourth stage. Only the Vaishnava conception is there. Fifth stage, only Krishna consciousness. Even all the Vaishnava cannot enter there. Madhavendra Puri, Mahaprabhu says, if somebody don't have a relationship with Madhavendra Puri Pad's family, means this parampara, they cannot even enter in Vrindavan. Wow, that scared me. In a sense, we are fortunate, but we should make other fortune. Madhacharya Sampradaya Udupi temples, the head Pujari's son, he got initiated by Jayapataka Maharaj, because now the head Pujari, he was thanking. He said, that's very nice. So you will go a higher destination. This is given. Swami Maharaj Prabhupada, ISKCON Prabhupada gave such a high, it's a higher conception of what they have. They even consider Srila Prabhupada like a Madhacharya, expansion. Madhacharya came as a Prabhupada. That's interesting. They respect him so much. Nice. It's wonderful. And the day will come, Prabhupada will be glorified more for his teachings. So we have to be equipped with those teachings. We have to be sharing. Otherwise, it's not a glorification of Prabhupada. So on the fifth dimension, the knowledge which is very similar to this mundane world, yet it is not mundane. That's called aprakrita. As Prabhu was showing, aprakrita means it looks like a mundane world. They have a day and night. They have a rain, all this season. They have everything. They have a fear. They have all this emotion. They have anger. They have a emotion. But it is not like this world of suffering. In over there, the anger is a tasty. Anger is like a sandesh. You can say greed is like a rasgulla. If you have like a, what do you call, madness. Madness is like a gulab jamun, like a different kind of flavor. But here it tortures. The soul actually very badly suffers. So it's different. The residents of Vrindavan think themselves ordinary, as I mentioned. This is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Ramananda Rai Sangbad. If you are interested more to hear, it is on chapter 8, Madhya-lila. You can read. Beautiful. Prabhupada gave a big purport. This is called Jnana Sunna Bhakti. It is called Jnana Sunna Bhakti, Prabhupada writes. Divine love which is free of any calculation. Does not consider even the opulence and power of the Lord. That devotion is above Vaikuntha, goes on under the spell of Yogamaya, the spiritually enchanting potency. And Advaita Acharya Prabhu, Nityananda Prabhu, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that's all they demonstrated. They did not demonstrate anything else. When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came back to Mayapur, after he took sannyas, this is what he was establishing in Navadvip, where everybody came. When Mahaprabhu was there, nobody knew that he is Supreme Lord. When Mahaprabhu left, took sannyas, everybody came to know through Nityananda Prabhu's mercy. And they regretted, they repented, they cried. And they cried and cried and cried. They said, oh, Nimai, I wish you would come back. We are so sorry. This crying is required. We are so close to these teachings, but yet we are not embracing, all of us. The day should come that we should cry for it and embrace these teachings, and we take it seriously. then Mahaprabhu will be very happy. And Mahaprabhu took sannyas just to make this happen. He was not required. That's why we never worship Mahaprabhu's sannyas form. You will never see any ISKCON temple worship. We always worship Mahaprabhu's Grihastha form, because Grihastha form in Navadvip is the highest form of Radha and Krishna together. Vrishabhanu Nandini Radha. When Mahaprabhu came back in Navadvip, he establishes that. That was very nice. That's why we sing like this. Kabe habe bala se dinaya amar, kabe habe bala se dinaya amar. Aparada guchi sudhana me ruchi, kৃপা bale habe hridaye sancha, kabe habe bala se dinaya amar, kabe habe bala se dinaya amar. This is very important. That Mahaprabhu said we need to develop this kind of mood. Oh when will that be mine? Bhaktivinoda Thakur writes, when will you give me your blessing, erasing all my offenses, give my heart a taste, ruchi, for chanting the holy name in purity. When that day will come, we should cry like this. Now we're going to chant. Gopal Radhe Prabhu, would you like to read? I send you something. Or somebody can read. And then we're going to discuss the free will. Free will. Krishna, Krishna. Now we are going to chant for 10 minutes, and then we're going to discuss about free will. Somebody would like to read that? Who is there? 15 on the Zoom, and for Facebook they cannot see. Facebook has over 100. Somebody would like to read? Gopal Radhe Prabhu, why not you read? Or Mother Vishnu Priya, whoever. Are you going to read?
Can you read?
I could not hear. Somebody is going to read? Can somebody read, please?
Sure, I can read. Can everybody hear me?
Yes. Who is this?
Okay. This is Chaitanya Das.
Oh, Chaitanya Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. So Prabhupada gave us this definition of the Mahamantra in 1968. Krishna, please accept me. Please accept me. Interestingly, in a later lecture, he said, we have no right to ask Krishna to accept us. We have no right because we left him. We turned our backs on him. We committed sinful activities for many, many lifetimes. We became envious of Krishna. We denied him and we minimized him. What right do we have now to ask him to accept us? Still, we have the desire to again be connected with Krishna, so we cannot stop ourselves from asking him to accept us. Then Prabhupada said, but we have faith in our Guru Maharaj, and we know by his mercy, he will petition Krishna, and Krishna will accept us. It is powerful when you choose to bring into your chanting the mood that I have turned my back on Krishna, have remained separate from him for many, many lifetimes. And now I'm asking him, please, although I don't deserve it, I want to to reinstate my relationship with you. Please accept me. If you allow yourself to go into this meditation, it will likely bring up emotions like remorse, despair, and lamentation. These feelings empower your chanting. As you feel guilty for having left Krishna, as you feel the need to reconnect, these emotions energize your japa. In this meditation, you can envision the example that Srila Prabhupada gave. We are like children who have run away from our parents. Although our parents love us, we want independence and therefore leave them. I like to envision myself as this child coming back years later as an adult, lifetimes later, quote unquote, having suffered much. Realizing my mistake, I am ready to humbly plead to my father, Krishna, to accept me back. I envision myself knocking on Krishna's door, preparing to ask him for forgiveness and to accept me back for all the lifetimes I have turned my back on him. I know I don't deserve the relationship, so I can only beg for mercy to be accepted. I feel bad, I feel guilty, I feel horrible, and I beg to be accepted. If you bring out these emotions while chanting, you enter a deeply powerful realm of japa. Hare Krishna.
This is very nice. You all know Barahari Prabhu. Barahari Prabhu was surprised one time right here, Miami, when Prabhupada came. And one boy joined yesterday, and Prabhupada turned back to him. He says, "Can you pray for me? I want to go back to Krishna. I miss him. I want Krishna to accept me." And Barahari Prabhu told me, he was bewildered. He said, "Why Prabhupada asking to a new bhakta?" This is the sentiment we should have. My dear Lord, I have done mistake. Please accept me back. Please take me back. I want to go back home. I never want to stay away from your service. With this humble mood, we should start chanting for 10 minutes at least. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Simate Bhakti Vedanta Saminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Sunnavadi Paschata Deshatarine Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaura Bhakta Binda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Ram Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Rama Ram Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Rama Ram Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Ram Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Ram Hare Krishna Hare Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare
Hare
Ram
Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna.
Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare Krishna 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 Ram Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Ram Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare Ram Ram Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare Ram Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram 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 Krishna 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 Hare Ram 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 Krishna Krishna Hare Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram 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 Krishna 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 Hare Ram 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 Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare Ram 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 Krishna 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 Hare Ram Ram 1 minute. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Govinda Devi ki jai, Harinam Prabhu ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Pramanande, Hari Hari Bo. Hare Krishna. So we are going to start the second part of our program for 45 minutes and then we can have a question and answer. So as I was thinking about free will, as I was thinking of the free will, so I made it into 7 parts. But because of the time, I realized that the subject matter is too details. So we are going to focus on one thing. Haribol, come. So free will, in order to grasp the whole thing, for me, I understood that what is the origin of free will? First question raised. And to answer that, we have accumulated little bit. And then what is Supreme Lord is eternally independent or dependent? If somebody knows, you can raise your hand. A Supreme Lord created this free will. His free will is also illusion. Today also we are listening a material scientist for just few minutes, myself and Gorachand, just to see what they think of free will. What was his name? Daniel Dennett. It's in the Santa Fe University in New Mexico, Santa Fe Institute. The word free will or satantrata, saichamayata in Sanskrit they call, that it is misunderstood. It is not that they don't hear about free will, but they don't understand. Just like on the Jehovah Witness, they came and spent 8 hours with me also. 2 boys, very nice people. They go house to house. I don't know if it goes to your area in Florida, they go house to house and they introduce what they do. So I invited them, and I had one of the question I asked about the free will, and in their scripture there is no description. So, but they have an elder, means the senior priest. It's in Orlando, 2 hours from there, and they went and they got trained by him, and then they came back and delivered. Then I said, oh, that conception of free will is from the Hare Krishna Society, is not from your book. And he said, we don't know, but our high priest got it. I said, that's from the Hare Krishna Society book. What you are explaining, that free will is not visible anywhere. It's not written, that concept. The free will, what we have, is the very highest explanation. Even the modern science, they think the free will, the word, it has a substance, and they also question whether it's illusion or it's actually is free will an illusion or not illusion. They have a debate. Anyway, but two concepts they gave. One concept to us that free will is undetermined. Undetermined means that we all have exclusive control on it, which we accept. So some or other, the modern science, they came up with that idea. That was very interesting, I thought. The second part, we don't agree. They said the free will is require moral and social responsibility only. But that's not free will utility is. Free will is utility is whether you want to serve God or not serve God. But because they don't have any conception, even if you are a perfect moralist, you still have to suffer in this world. So what good of free will is that? You are still under the spell of birth, death, old age, disease. But they don't know the ultimate beauty. So anyway, we are glad that we are aware of what the modern American thoughts on free will. So I'm going to just begin with that. There is a verse in Madhya Lila, text 20, 253. Ichha Shakti Pradhan Krishna, Ichha is Sarvakarta, Jnana Shakti Pradhan Krishna, Vasudeva Adhishtata. That free will, independence, eternally with Krishna to the highest degree. Even all other expansion of God, including Balaram, Narayan, they are all subordinate to his free will. How do we know? For 1 year, Krishna wanted to display himself as all the coward boys and the cows. Balaram did not know. End of the year, Balaram found out how is possible. All these cows and the calves, they are after this, not for the baby calf, but their grown-up calf. How is this? And they are not even looking at my brother, Krishna. How is this possible? Balaram was bewildered. You read Krishna book, Prabhupada explained this. How is this possible? All the gopi mothers, they are so much in love with Krishna, but for 1 year, Balaram didn't notice because his free will, Krishna's free will is predominating above Balaram or anybody. So Krishna's free will decided that he's going to enjoy for 1 year as a coward boy, as a grown-up cow, and so he enjoyed. Even when the gopi mothers, they generally cry and they embrace Krishna. But when Krishna is coming from the pasturing field, they're not looking for Krishna. They're looking for their own child. What's wrong with that? In the material world, it is normal. In the material world, every parents, they love their own children. But in Vrindavan means they don't love their own children first. They love Krishna first, more than their own children. They look at Krishna, they pick up their child and go talking about Krishna. So like, oh, wow, what kind of sounds like a very strange. No, that is normal because Krishna is the center of everything. Even the child is happy, not with the mother, but with Krishna, through Krishna with the mother. The mother is happy with the child, not directly, through Krishna to the child. What did Krishna do? What do you do? He did with Krishna. Just talking about only Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. That's how it goes. So it proves that Ichha Shakti Pradhan Krishna. Two reasons Krishna is above all incarnation and manifestation. This is one of them. The predominating factor that his will is above everything. Even Balaram declared that Ekala Ishwar Krishna ar sabhritta jare jo iche na chahe to iche kare nitta. Krishna alone is the supreme object of love and he is the supreme controller of that free will. So when we, if you ever wonder like whether we fell down from the spiritual world or all this, I'm not going to discuss today, it's not my subject right now, but you should focus on this sloka, it will answer you. Why? Because Prabhupada wrote this, very nice. That Tumi Sarve Sareshwara Brajana Nandan, Tumara Ichhaya Vishya Srijana Sanghar. It is Krishna's will that we are here. It is Krishna's will that we'll go back. So it all depends on Krishna's will ultimately. Of course, we have a free will. We are going to discuss that. So before I go further, because it's such a vast subject, I'm going to just discuss few things what Prabhupada writes. I'm going to give you one example of Bhagavad Gita in the beginning, because all the devotees are familiar with the Bhagavad Gita. One time, after the war is over, Dhritarashtra and Lord Krishna had a dialogue. You are born with dharma or karma? We are born with dharma or karma? We are born with karma. Good answer. We are not born with dharma. How to react or how to see things happening in our life, we are not born with it. We learn from the teachers. But what is going to happen in our life, we are born with it. So Dhritarashtra asked Krishna, I had 100 sons. Now pay attention. This is very nice dialogue. Dhritarashtra says, I had 100 sons. All of them were killed. Why? Krishna replied, well, 50 lifetime back, you were a hunter. While hunting, you tried to shoot a male bird. It flew away. In anger, you ruthlessly slaughtered the 100 baby birds in the nest. Father bird had to watch in helpless agony. Because you caused that father bird the pain of seeing the death of 100 sons, you too have to bear the pain of your 100 sons dying. Dhritarashtra says, okay, well, why did I have to wait for that many years, lifetimes, to explain? Please explain. Krishna answered, you are accumulating what? Piety. To have 100 sons is not like a joke. Not everybody can have 100 sons. You need a lot of piety. So you accumulated for so many life, 50 life to get that accumulation. Now you are going to get the result of what you deserve. Then, because that requires a lot of punya, then you got the reaction of sin that you have done 50 lifetimes ago also. This 417. Ghana karma gati. The way in which action and reaction works is a very complex. Bhakti Charu Maharaj, when I was staying with him, we used to have a discussion every day for hours. Some are scientific basis, some are, I miss him. I really miss him. Bhakti Charu Maharaj was a person I could just talk and talk and talk for hours and hours. Of course, with Radhanath Maharaj also I do that. But one day Maharaj was saying, no, we raised the question, what is the complexity? What is the word Prabhupada used, complexity? So Maharaj says that, do you know, Pran Govinda, that sugar cane juice is not duplicated by the scientist yet after that many decades past? The science so much advancing, so many ways, but they cannot duplicate the sugar cane juice. Why? It's just that soul enter into that plant. You know what is sugarcane juice? 6 molecule carbon and water. 6 molecule water, 6 molecule carbon. That's all. And they try to put it in a thermoflask, hydrothermal, all kinds of process. Nothing works. Till today, no scientist. Why? Because the soul enters into the body of that sugar cane and create this flavor juice. This is the complexity. Soul has nothing to do with it, but without the soul, this flavor will never come. That's why Prabhupada says the compatible in incompatible, the soul and the material nature, they are mixing is complexity. It's difficult to understand. So Bhakti Charan Maharaj taught me that. I will never forget. We used to talk and talk and talk all this. So I'm going to mention what Srila Prabhupada mentioned. I also request you, please read 1st Canto, 14th chapter, 32 chapter. Srila Prabhupada talks about that actually the soul has two things. I'm going to summarize because it's a big purport. That you have come to this material world from the Tatastha region. You did not come from the spiritual world or the material world. You are neither product of the material world or spiritual world. You come from the Tatastha region, means you have a connection of the both world. But what made you to come here and what made some soul go there? It is called free will. It's very nice way, he says. Misuse of free will and utility of free will. It's all individual, depends on us. And also another point Prabhupada write in the purport, that we are eternally dependent. And our free will be fully manifesting when we surrender to Krishna. So without delay, I'm going to discuss something very interesting point. I always say this word, but today I thought we are going to discuss that little details. Because Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur writes a very nice article when a political leader, Shyam Sundar Chakraborty, he came to see Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur and he says, all this suffering of the soul is because of misuse of free will, independence. Why God gave the independence? And Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur answered him, you are a political leader, you are running against the other party, for what? Independence. You don't know the value of independence? And same thing Prabhupada writes. Try to value the independence, value of independence. Without independence, what is the difference between you and this floor or the house? No difference. It is the free will that Krishna gave us. We are eternally indebted to him. If he did not give us free will, what is the value of this? Of course, question comes. If you plant a mango seed, just an example I'm giving you, on the ground, you sow. Now, if you say, well, on my free will, I'm meditating, there will be, what is it? Coconut. What do you think? Coconut or jackfruit from the mango seed. Well, that's not up to you. So free will also doesn't mean anything you want to think it will happen. No, that's not what free will means. If you planted the mango seed, the mango plant may come by the grace of God, nature and everything. But at the same time, how many mango will be there, that's not also up to you. So your free will also has a particular form and shape we need to understand. So what we are learning, that our past karma does determine what will happen in our life, but it does not determine how we will react to it. You understand? For an example, a very simple example, what I'm going to start with, that when you think, because you heard this, I always say this, are you the maker of your destiny or life is predestined? Well, let's find out. As we discuss about the Dhritarashtra and Krishna's dialogue, one place also it says that Vyasdev was conversing with Dhritarashtra on the same subject. Anyway, it doesn't matter, both are recorded. There are two philosophies on this. And most of the so-called educated American, they think of Indian Vedic culture is a Dvaibhavad. One is Karmavad, one is Dvaibhavad. Like my oldest brother, he was working for UNICEF in Austria, Vienna, before I came to even to the West. He was anyway, he always believed the Karmavad. What is Karmavad? He thinks everything in life happening by my karma, my activity. I work very hard. Why? I'll be successful. If I work hard enough, smart enough, then I'll become the next, who? Who is the Bill Gates? No, somebody else you said. Jeff Bezos. If I work very hard, Gopal Radhe is smiling. If I work very hard and smart enough, then I'll become next Jeff Bezos. Bezos, okay, Jeff Bezos. It's very funny, believe or not. I was testing the same child in his teenager. He thinks like this. When he's in 30s, he thinks, if I have one good job, I'll be very good. And when he's 40, he say, I don't want any of this. I just want just little peaceful, one house and peaceful, like some money, and that's all. He changes. What happened to your next president you want to be? Oh, these things change. So Karmabad says that if I look at the reality of life, if we look really honestly, we can see so many people work so hard. Not necessarily all are successful. They work and work and work and work. So therefore, Karmabad, the idea of Karmabad, that if I work smart enough, hard enough, I'll be successful, it's depressing sometimes. Why? The idea that everything depends on my action brings frustrations. And the people who follow this doctrine tend to develop an inferiority complex. Why? Because in reality, it is not our action alone that determines results. This is the key point Prabhupada making. Many times we feel sorry when we study hard and we think we will grade with the high marks, and it didn't happen. And Gorachand is smiling. Obviously he knows. And sometimes also I saw, one time in my life, I was hardly reading before the exam. And I say, I don't know, I'm just too tired of this, like too much. And I actually got first class, first division. I became very close to my father at that time. I'll never forget that. And then I was reflecting, I did hardly studied even. So this Karmabad, it's really confusing. We will admit that there are times in our life we don't study much, but we get good grades. So the law of karma works both ways. Now let's see what is Daivabad. We discussed about Karmabad. Let's talk about Daivabad. Daivabad, how this free will works or independent works. Sometimes due to our past good karma, we get good reaction, even when we don't do like poor action, I would say. Somebody is just born with this melodious voice. And I'm practicing for days and months. It's still like a frog sound. How is this? So this idea, why Dhritarashtra liked this Daivabad, I tell you, Daivabad, because in Dhritarashtra's own life, you can read in the first canto, Srila Prabhupada gives a beautiful explanation of Vidura and Dhritarashtra's conversation. So Vidura came to Dhritarashtra in a private, his room. He says, I want you to don't join in the war. You are blind also. Just give up this kingdom idea. Come with me. We're going to go on pilgrims. He said, I can't do this. Leave my children here. They are about to start war. He said, but it is a sinful war. They are not going to win. And Dhritarashtra gave a logic. Well, I'm helpless if this is the case. It is the divine arrangement, I guess. I don't want to just leave and make them condemn. But Dhritarashtra, that time Vidura tried to explain him that yes, even if you're destined for something to happen, how you can build your attitude, mold your attitude, make it align with the God, Krishna, or scriptures, then perhaps even if you don't win, what a logic he gave. Even if you don't win, you are properly situated for the next life, you will win. Because you are following the path. So it is not everything like settled in our life. Oh, I have nothing to do. No. Our attitude, our action, what is destiny already said it, how we see the destiny, it determines our next destination. So we are always set if we can follow this. You have the freedom to choose to do your duty or not. You are born with karma, but you are not born with duty. So you should try to stop your son to the best of your capacity. This was Vidura's advice. But nowadays we see a lot of Indian also in the West, they become westernized, like Western thinkers, including me. Sometimes misunderstand this Vedic philosophy. What is the misunderstanding? They think the Vedic philosophy is fatalistic. Fatalistic means everything is already done. You're going to just see it, what happened in life. Generally, this is how the westernized, non-Vedic follower thinks. You know, the Western philosophy. They think of Indian idea. I remember Chaitanya Charan Prabhu said one time, how can they think like this? We had a little conversation one time. How can they think like this? If you really think like Mahabharata, which is composed of over 110,000 verses. And if you think of Iliad or Odyssey, they're very popular, you can say, poet or poem writers. They both combine, all the Western poets combined together is not even Mahabharata. So how can you say Vedic followers were lazy? They challenged Prabhupada one time. They said, oh, the Hare Krishna, they just chant, dance, that's it. It's an easy life. Prabhupada said, if it is easy life, come and do what I do. Then Prabhupada said, I get up at 12 o'clock. I go to sleep at 9. I get up at 12 o'clock and 12 to 4, I translate. Let's do, you do that. Let's see. And then 4 to till morning walk, I chant. And we go on conversing, and then we go greet the deity and then lecture. And then we come upstairs and take little prasadam. Then again, conversation and translation. Where is the laziness you see? But it looks like Hare Krishnas are just chanting, dancing. They're like a free life. They need to work. They're working more than any karmi working. If you really think the Buddhist life. I mean, I'm looking my own life too. I don't know how many karmi will do like that. Getting up at 2 o'clock and go on, you know, till 9:30. Not karmi, all are do that, very rare. But they think the Hare Krishnas are easy life because we are like smiling, we're like free. We are happy. That's why they think. So Vedic philosophy is not Daivabad. Everybody understood Karmabad and Daivabad. The real Vedic understanding is that the result of our actions are determined both by our action in this life and the reaction of our previous life. For example, you sow a seed. This is Matsya incarnation, spoke this to Satyavrata Muni. When the devastation took place, you wonder like what they talk about. When the Lord is with the devotee, what they talk in the middle of the big waves, devastation taking place. He was not concerned about the devastation, even the big things going on. He is having a conversation with the Lord. But how big the Lord was? He was 1 million mile. Do you know what is 1 million mile? I have no idea. 1 million mile body of the fish. And he has a boat with this great devotee with all the seeds of all the species. And he's having 1 million mile body versus his 7 feet or whatever, 14 foot those days body, conversation going on. How the karma works. So the Lord gave an explanation. Think of a farmer. What the farmer does. Farmer is supposed to plow the field, yes, and sow the seed. Now, just because the farmer doing the sowing the seed does not mean there will be fruit. You follow? Why? it's require rain. That's not depend on him. That depends on God, rain God. But so there is a story in a old biblical story similar to our, that Matsya explained that one year one farmer, he planted beautifully, put the fertilizer, sowing the seed, but no rain. So guess what happened? There was no fruits, no grain. Next year he thought, this is too much. I worked so hard last year, I'm not going to do anything. And so nice rain and sun came, and then he felt like, oh my God, now I lost again because I didn't do my work. So on the third year, he did his job, and there was a rain and sun, and he got everything. So you have to see the life like this. You follow? You have to see the life like this. Very nicely, Matsya, fish incarnation, explained. So it is important to note that even a person does good karma, that good karma will bring good reaction. This means he has to still stay in the material world to enjoy those good reaction. Try to understand why we are trying to promote Krishna consciousness, not interested of good karma or bad karma, doivabad, karmabad. We do not care, but we try to understand what it is. Because in this world, even the devotee sometimes wonder, is my income, future family income is destined, already fixed, or really I have to like figuring out, or can I beat the system because I'm a devotee, I can just gather more money, and all kinds of weird idea comes. But it has to be very clearly understood that if why we are not interested in Karmabad, Karmabad says that if you water, in India they do, they give a free water to the public in a busy town or busy places. It's very nice, no or no? Yes. You know what is the nice about it? Next slide. You will be born in an island where the ocean water is there and drinking water is there. You got plenty of water because you gave water last life. But still you are under the attack of birth, death, old age and disease. So there was a Briguma, famous astrologer from India, Kushiarpur. She is one of the best, they say. So she was in Los Angeles. So I went to see her. She came to our house. We were living in a La Jolla area near Pacific Beach. Very nice house with an ocean view, bay view. We had beautiful house. So I remember she came there and we had a discussion. So there is a Kate Station Park, walking distance. I used to take my both son there on Sundays, just one block. And big, beautiful Kate Station Park. The lady who donated, she is dead and she never charged anybody. She just gave that land free. So that astrologer says now next life, she's good. She gave the park free, but she will get next life birth as a poor. So poor, but she will buy a lotto ticket and she will get the super lotto. And people will like, oh my God, this poor lady got super lotto ticket. Now imagine if you allow every person entering in her park for $1, I would pay $1. It's beautiful park. It's just one block from our house. I remember it's up on the hill in San Diego. And she would get probably billions of dollars by this time for so many years. So many people goes there. So if she gets $76 million or $100 million as a poor person from Latin America or somewhere, they come as a maid servant, because this is a true story happened, that the lawyer whose house this lady was working, she's from Venezuela. And she said, oh, I got super lotto, I'm not working anymore. The lawyer had a heart attack and he died. So he's thinking, I worked so hard, I did not even pile up few million, and she got $120 million without working as a maid servant. So he could not take it, he had a heart attack and died. This is very difficult for Karmi to understand. Why? Because last life we don't know what she did. Just like this Mr. Kate, she gave this park to the public use. Next life she has to come back again. But how she will get the result? She has to be born in a poor Just an example that astrologer Mataji was explaining me. And then she will buy the super lotto and she will get it. Like, wow, life changes. There's so many stories like that. But what the value of it? There's no value of it. You're still under the spell of birth, death, old age, and disease. You are not escaping from it. That's why we do not give importance, but we understand this. We depend on Krishna fully. So, the understanding of karma has a lot of bearing on the present state of society. Only when we understand karma will the call to morality have any meaning. There was a funny joke, says, anyway, Auntie Lisa, she said, why not God gives freedom to anybody to do whatever they want? I remember that conversation. I said, you like that idea? This is what modern American young thinks. We should be allowed to do whatever we want. So I said, what about, do you love anybody? Say, yeah, I love my mother. I say, what about that guy on the street? He thinks he feel like to kill your mother. Because you said, let them do whatever they want. That should be like a real life. And he comes and kills. Now he should be in the jail to have a correction, or it's okay. Let him do whatever he wants. She changed her mind, I remember. She said, oh no, that's horrible. I said, so therefore, just imagine you came to a town where they say, oh, you can drive whichever way you want. We are free. There's no law. There's no police. And you think, wow, what a nice life. Wow. No, you will see it will fill up with the criminal. So therefore, karma means there is a restriction. How much you will get, how much you will not get. There is a law. There is a punishment. There is a breaking law. All these things are intact by Krishna for the welfare of our being. And so it's a practical. How do we get out of this karma cycle? Well, you can get the freedom by Krishna consciousness, bhakti. So there are 4 points I want everybody to remember. Then I'll come back to the end of the karma. Free will. Beyond good karma, there is a akarma, means devotional service, which brings the ultimate freedom from karmic entanglement. Let's see how. Devotional service provides us with, how many we said? 4 gifts. First, let's see. First one is discrimination of right and wrong. Let's discuss for 1 minute. When we practice devotional service, Lord as super soul in our heart grants us the knowledge to make the right choice. All of us can, at some time or other, hear the voice of conscience, Vivek Buddhi. I'm sure you all had that experience. You wake up in the morning, I feel like this, something within me, like why I woke up exactly on time. Was it my alarm? Oh, I didn't have an alarm to set up for that time. I have an alarm in case if I fail after 1 hour, it still will be 3 o'clock. So it's not lost. But it is not alarm. It is the Krishna as in a form of super soul encourages within us. A voice says, act this way, go Mangalarti, chant, be completely devotional, you will be completely free. This inner voice becomes stronger and it guides us to make the right choice in life. You writing that? Okay. What's the title? Discrimination of right and wrong. Good. So devotional service can grant us the knowledge to gradually become disentangled from all karma. 2, determination to follow right and avoid wrong. Second point is determination to right and avoid what is wrong. But Devotional service saves us from doing further bad karma and the craving to do bad karma. What we crave, we curve. Very good. You remember. Chanting of the holy names gives us inner satisfaction. Chanting. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And that enables us to say no to the sinful pleasure of this world. Believe me, it's working. I see that. That's why we not only know the right choice, but we also get the willpower to make those right choices. You see the free will where it's working? You get the willpower. Free will has a two function. Willpower also has a two function. Persistence and abstinence. I don't want to do it. I will do it. Where you get this willpower? By chanting. So bhakti can save us. Third point, minimization of sinful reaction. Certain reactions are going to come to us from the past. But devotional service helps us minimize those reactions. For devotees, the Lord gives just a token reaction. Prabhupada had a finger cut and he immediately quoted, Justin Ragopama Thavendra Mahosa Karma Bandhana Rupa Phalabhajana Matanoti Karmani Nirdhati Kintucha Bhakti Bhajam Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. Srila Prabhupada says, my head's supposed to be severed. He said like this. But Krishna is so kind, he saved me with this little cut. He had a little finger cut. And he quoted that verse, that Krishna minimized. So for a devotee, even we have a sinful reaction or anything, but Krishna is so kind, when we are taking shelter, he will minimize our sinful reaction. Number 4, inner strength to face suffering. This 4 point, everybody please remember. So number 4 is inner strength to face suffering. Whatever the residual karma that comes upon us, devotional services grants us the strength to tolerate that suffering. One of the names of Krishna is called Karuna Sindhu, Karunanidhi, reservoir of compassion. Our Srila Prabhupada gives an example how Krishna gives us strength to endure our suffering. When a child is going to school, I remember with my son Nishinga, we just moved here, it was like a little tough, I still remember. The teacher gives an assignment, this much homework, and the student didn't do it. And you know it. As a parent, you know it. The child going to get little chastisement. But still, you take the child to the school and to face this teacher. But you give the comfortable instruction. Don't worry, you forgot it, but next time we'll do it properly. And if teachers say it is true, we should do like this. Next day, you should prepare. We encourage. You follow? Like this, Krishna actually teaches us. Look, this happened. This will happen again from within. He said, don't do it. He will teach us like this. What is the conclusion? In conclusion, irrespective, you can write it down, of our past karma, the spiritually scientific process of devotional service is the best path to the highest happiness in this life and the next. You follow the conclusion? Good. Now I'm going to end with this one little story of Srila Prabhupada. He talks about free will. It's misunderstood by the Western world. There are a few things. Also, I was going to talk about the free will is the distance between response and no, response and impulse. Everybody is impulsive. It's impulse. Impulsion comes from the mind, response comes from the soul. But let's see, we may not have time, but we'll see. But I want to talk about this Prabhupada's conversation about this. Very nice with the reporter, interviewer on the free will. So the article written in BTG is called Slave Mentality. Slave Mentality, if you search online BTG, you'll find it. So interviewer, a reporter came and he's asking to Srila Prabhupada, to me, God means freedom. Srila Prabhupada, yes, God means freedom. Provided you surrender to God, that is real freedom. The interviewer say, but I may not accept your idea of God. I may want to worship God or I may not want to worship my God. That is my freedom. And that is the most important things to me. Srila Prabhupada replied, a child's freedom, for instance, is to live completely under the protection of his parents. Then he has freedom. But without their protection, that child will be in danger. There is no real freedom. If the child is very rebellious, he may think he does not need his parents. He wants to be free, but he's just a rascal. Prabhupada is a very straightforward word. He's just a rascal. He does not really know what freedom is. Similarly, if we don't understand to surrender to God, then you are misusing your freedom and you will lose your freedom. The Bhagavad Gita, Prabhupada says, Daiviyesha gunamayi mamamaya durattaya. Material nature is so strong that she will not allow you to get free. But mamevaje prapadante, if you surrender to Krishna instead of Krishna's Maya, then you will become free. If you don't agree to accept the control of Krishna, you will be forced by Krishna's material energy. So what is so-called freedom? You have to surrender. Then the reporter, interviewer again, but isn't that a rather stifling kind of slave mentality? Prabhupada, we want to become the slave of Krishna. And you want so-called freedom. But you do not know that if you don't become a slave of Krishna, then you must become a slave of Maya. And nature of the soul is to be a slave of Krishna. That is your natural position. We can see this practically. If people are not slaves to this material nature, then where are they? Why they are dying? They don't want to die. So you are forced. You don't want to die. You are forced to die. You don't want to become old. You are forced to become old. Where is your freedom? This is imagination. Then the interviewer again asking Prabhupada, but throughout the history, people has fought valiantly for the freedom to enjoy life to the fullest, the pursuit of happiness. Srila Prabhupada, that means they are thinking that freedom means to become the servant of the senses. Our Krishna consciousness philosophy teaches, don't become the servant of your senses. And people think, oh, but this is our freedom. They do not know, but they're trying to become free. They are becoming servant of their senses. Hiranyakashipu. Where is your freedom? To freely enjoy sense gratification means to become servant of your senses. Imagine, we depend to remain happy by the senses. They don't think like this. Then Prabhupada gives further, just like a dog. As soon as his master pulls the leash, come on, come on, he has to follow. So people are becoming just like a dog. They are thinking, I'm free. But they have leash by the senses. Because they are unintelligent rascal, they cannot understand what real freedom is. But we are teaching the real freedom comes when you surrender to Krishna. Interviewer goes on, but how can you surrender to something you don't know? You cannot really know God. You cannot even speak about him. Srila Prabhupada, that's the wrong person to ask. Srila Prabhupada answered, Our position is that we know God from God's explanation of himself. What is Bhagavad Gita? God himself speaking about himself. Huh? He says, Matta Parataranannat, there is no greater truth than me. Nothing is equal or above. So we accept this. That's all. Interviewer again asking Prabhupada to accept the statement of God. Srila Prabhupada said, so you are more intelligent than rascal. The rascal will remain fools by speculating on God for many, many lives. When they become actually wise, they will surrender to God. This is also stated in which one? Bahunam janmanam ante genamanama prapaddate vasudeva sarvamiti samahatma asudrullabha. Prabhupada very nicely explained. It says, I have already surrendered to Krishna. Why should you wait? Then the devotee came in the picture in between the reporter. Our problem is that they never have authorities they could surrender to. Even their parents have cheated them. Srila Prabhupada. That is a fact. Ooh. The parents are also rascals. Unless you approach a person who is the representative of God, who has understood Krishna, then the rascalism continues. You have to find out a person who has understood the supreme truth. Otherwise, you will simply find another rascal, another, another. But you should not think that just because they have been cheated, there is no genuine authority. That is simply another kind of rascalism. If someone has been cheated with counterfeit money, he should not conclude that there is no real money. So don't become illusion just because you were cheated by counterfeit authorities in the past. Unfortunately, people are so unintelligent that they cannot judge what is real authority and what is unreal. They take the real to be counterfeit, then they follow the blind rascal. This is in Back to Godhead, 13 number issue, 1970. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Is there any question, comment, reflection, discussion? I see Sarvataraka Prabhu making some dinner. Very busy.
Yes. But I am missing you and all the devotees because since I couldn't feed you.
Thank you, Prabhu.
I feel
Someday.
embarrassment because this is the part of life to feed the Vaishnavas.
You please pray for me so I can become a good servant of Vaishnava.
Yeah, actually, I could like one sentence. Just I was thinking when we cook morning time, lot of preparation. So actually, the Vaishnava philosophy or Mahaprabhu's teaching is Harinam Sankirtan and Prasadam and the Vaishnavas. So suddenly on Vaishnava appeared like 2 o'clock.
Oh.
Actually, he is Gurukuli. Then I made 2 plate for him. So I thought Krishna sent him.
Very nice.
So thank you so much. Your scientific explanation. Actually, no question. I am not qualified to ask you questions because if I ask questions, I need a lot of study of Prabhupada books.
We should.
So I think second chapter or third chapter when Prabhupada was explaining, I was reading, but my memory is so dull. I couldn't. That on one of the note, like all the time I try to memorize, like when Prabhupada explained, like the soul and our mind, our intelligence, our karma, I think second chapter. So once upon a time, it's like our free will or our intelligence are more strong than our mind is more stronger than our willingness or our intelligence, and the soul is above all. But sometimes like the soul, like the intelligence and the mind, we do such a nonsense type of work. Even so, soul cannot control. That means soul sometimes get defeated by the intelligence and mind. And though it is superior than intelligence and mind, So I know it is, sometimes I understand, but sometimes it does not click in my mind, because though we are devotee, we understand through the intelligence, we have to go touch that soul, not see our body, like you go to beyond of the bodily conception, but it's still, that things, affect, like how, the soul get defeated by intelligence and mind.
So your question is, in the beginning you mentioned that sloka is in 3rd chapter.
I was
There's
looking
it's called material hierarchy. Indriyani parani ahur, indriyabha paramana, manastu para buddhi, buddhistu para tatsha. The material hierarchy, that there is a sense object, senses is above the sense object, above the senses are the mind, above the mind is the intelligence, above the intelligence is the soul. So you have a good question, very nice question. But we have to understand what Prabhupada says here, that the soul is a child. If the child need to grow, mature, and enjoy life, he has to take shelter, not on the rebellious. A metaphor is given one time to Prabhupada, that imagine Sarvatarak Prabhu as a little baby is the successor of this big kingdom, and he is going to rule the kingdom because his father died. Now he is going to rule, but he is an immature child. He can only rule when he becomes grown up. But until that, his minister will be ruling the kingdom. And how he is going to rule the kingdom? Now through the minister. Who are the minister? They are rebellious, exploiter. They are called mind, senses, and like this. So then question came, this is an analogy Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur also used, that what soul can do? What can you do? Ask yourself, what can you do? Say you are looking through the window and you see one lady is there and all the minister ordered that she should be killed by throwing rock at her. Why? Because she did some illegal activities. And as a child, you're thinking, well, I'm the king, but I don't think this is appropriate. No. Minister is saying you are a mature child. When you grow up, you are king. But right now, you're not a king. You are holding the position, but you are a immature child. So you have to listen to us. We are grown up. We are mature. We understand. She should be killed like this. Then another day, you see another person got killed. They are like torturing the ministers. You have a rightful ownership of this kingdom. Look at the metaphor. You have a rightful ownership to that kingdom. This is the verse Prabhupada quoted, Karja Karana Kartitte Hetu Prakriti Ruchyate. This is one of the famous verse. Everybody should know that how you actually soul is hovering here with the material nature. Karja Karana Kartitte. So the example is given, you are a child, you have an inheritance to be the ruler, king, but you are not grown up, so you are depend on the minister who are the rascals, rebellious, like a mind and senses. So the minister ruling the kingdom on your behalf, but actually they are exploiting. So my question is, how do you get your power? Even as a child, you can show your compassion and nicely ruling the citizen. How? If you tell the minister, they will say, oh, no, you're a little baby. Just you grow up and then we'll talk. They are not denying, they are not taking away the kingdom. You follow? They're saying you are future king. But right now we'll do what we want to think is right. What can we do? Can anybody answer from the audience? Think. This is the question Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur raised. It's a very nice question. Only way, and he answered, only way that child can do, if that child has a connection with superior power, more power than his ministers and kingdoms. And if he can have that connection established without the minister and others knowing it. So similar position we have in this world. If we can be connected with superior power, supreme power, Krishna, with his power, we can conquer our mind, we can conquer our senses. On our own, we'll fail. If that small baby in one country in the Middle East, he's the future king, but the minister is exploiting. But if that child, some other wants to say, I want to see America, and I want to meet the king, president, but he's never telling the minister what is the secret. Then after he came there, he's revealing that I need your help to help me to take over the kingdom. With your help, I can rule it. With the minister, I cannot. They will not allow. Can he do that? Yes. If he can be fortunate to connect with the superior power, like America or some big country, then he can rule. You follow? But it has to be secret until the American government agrees, president, okay, we'll send the troops. The minister cannot touch you. Then he can rule through them. So we can rule these senses. We can make our material existence comfortable by the power of supreme connection. On our own, we'll be under the mind and the senses and material intelligence. We can never escape from it. It's a very nice question, Sarvatarak Prabhu. So we should take shelter of the holy name and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. With their power, we can empower ourselves to come out of the senses and the power of the mind and others. Thank you.
Thank you. Like surrender. I know we don't have.
Yes. Gopal Radhe Prabhu.
Yes, Krishna
Any
Prabhuji.
other?
Thank you so much for explaining. I just wanted a few clarifications. When you were explaining Karmavad, Daivavad, and our spiritual way thought on free will, you gave the example of the farmer sowing the seed in the soil. So you gave also the example of 3 years. Is that 3 years like for Karmavad, the first year when he does a lot of hard work, but doesn't get no rain? And is the second year when he gets rain and everything, but he does not do no karma? Is that like Daivavad? And the last year is he does both and everything happens. Is that like the Vedic thing? Is it something related to that or no?
Very good. Very good. Yes. I'm glad you picked it up. So the conclusion is we do our job and we depend Krishna to combine with two together. We can have a wonderful life.
Okay. And
very good.
Second thing, sorry, yes, Prabhu?
Go
You
ahead.
were saying something?
No.
Okay. And the second thing, you said in the beginning of the class about the 7 points of free will or something. If you can tell that in a nutshell. I think you didn't. Did you specify, or I spaced out somewhere in the class, or I don't know.
No,
If you can just say it in a nutshell, point wise, it will be nice.
7 point. No, I cannot say in nutshell. It will take a couple hours. It just 7
Okay. Okay. So we can have a class later about it.
Yeah, we can have a few days classes on that. What is the origin of free will? Saicha, Supreme Personality of Godhead has a free will. Is Krishna has a fully dependent or independent, or he has both? Krishna is eternally or he is also dependent?
Hello? Krishna is independent.
That's a half truth. And he is also dependent. Both.
Yeah, both.
Yeah. Both.
To the devotees.
Few verses we should remember. One verse, when Durvasa went to see the Lord, he says, also Nityananda Prabhu says, I'm going to say the first Nityananda Prabhu's one. Jadapi Ishwar tumi parama satantra, tatapi svabhave ho prema paratantra. This is a beautiful verse in Chaitanya Charitamrita. That as far transcendental realization, you are the absolute truth. You are fully independent. Nobody can tell you what to do, what not to do. You only decide. You are not under the influence. Just like you are dependent right now. If you say, I'm not feeling happy or I'm not feeling hot, the hot is imposed the summer by the material nature. It is not the soul. But you think you are this body, so you are influenced by another potency. But Krishna's desire, independence, is not influenced by any other potency. But at the same time, he says, Tathapi svabhave ho prema paratantra. By nature of your existence, reciprocal with the devotees, you submit yourself under the love of devotee. Not under devotee. We have to be very careful, very fine line. Under the love of the devotee. Krishna is subordinate to the love of Mother Yashoda, not under Mother Yashoda. It is the love that she has. And if we can get contagious of that love, we will be also acting like her. So when we develop love, Krishna is also dependence. So that's a whole explanation. The second subject. Third subject was Premarasana is just. What is the essence of existence? From that angle to look at it. Free will and no free will. It's very nice. One day we can discuss. And there's also the how much free will Krishna actually gave us and how much free will Maya has. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur says, non-spiritual energy is material energy. Means no free will. Maya has no free will, but Maya acts like she is powerful. Yes, it's Krishna's setup. But she has no free will like we do. We have a different free will. So that is another discussion. And the fifth point was different opinion of different acharyas. It's the same thing, but different way to look at it. I made some collection also. And the number 6 was Srimad Bhagavatam. Explain this. You can read. I'm going to throw some numbers. Bhagavatam 10.87.21. You can read very nicely about talking about independence or freedom. And 12.6.12. Then number 7 was Srila Prabhupada's opinion on the free will. And 8 was free will allow us for the possibility of a loving relationship with God, since clearly love never exists in slavery. Is it? Love really don't exist in slavery. You remember Gopal Radhe Prabhu, Prabhupada example, where he told to Ridhananda Maharaj in a morning walk, if you put a gun on the forehead of a girl, you say, I love you, you love me or I'll kill you. It's a very nice example Prabhupada gave. Then the devotee understood, oh, because the love is a choice, free choice, it cannot be under pressure. So these are the points. One time we can discuss further. It's a very interesting because we are consciously choosing to do bhakti. Bhakti is not automatic. Bhakti is a conscious choice. All those devotees I see in the Zoom and Facebook, they choose to hear about Krishna. They are choosing to chant. They decide themselves. It is not dictated. Oh, we may be fortunate to become in a family where parents are making the children do it because we wanted to be Krishna conscious. So Krishna arranged them to be born in that family. It is a literally on our own choice. We are progressing in spiritual path. Thank you for that question. Any other comments, reflection, or we'll close?
I just had 2 more points, Roji. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Nobody else has question also. Another, you said that Karjam Karanam Prakriti, that shloka. Can you tell me the number on it?
It's in the 13th chapter. What is the Karja Karana Kartite Hetu Prakriti Ruchyate?
Is it 13th chapter Bhagavad Gita?
Yes, Bhagavad Gita.
Okay. Yes.
What is the next one you said?
Yeah, next one, I just wanted to say that thank you so much for that explanation you gave to Sarvatarak Prabhu and answering his question about how the soul it becomes captive and how we can take the help of other. And this also strengthens the point which shows that our devotional service is not sadhan sadhya, it's kripa sadhya. Sadhan sadhya is when we can try on our own to break this rebellion which is happening in our world. But kripa sadhya is when we have the mercy of the superior who can come and help us to break this bondage. So thank you so much for shining a light on that. Hare
Thank
Krishna.
you. So we'll end here.
Yes, Prabhuji, just maybe I took all the time. If somebody wants to ask a question or comment, just 2 minutes if there is anybody.
Guru Das. Somebody is trying to raise hand or trying to say who is Guru Das? No. All right. Gaur Pramanande, Hari Hari Bol.
Hari
We'll
Bol.
see you next Thursday. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Vancha kalpatarubhasya. Kripa sindhu vacha patitanam pavanebho vaishnavebho namo namo Vaishnavita ki jai. Srila Prabhupada.
Enjoy.
Hare Krishna.